to, I don't know which podcast it is right now. I kind of lost count. I'm here with Dan Ganado, a very dear friend of mine. So Dan, what are you up to these days?
You know, just trying to get through the last year of music school at BIM, playing with a lot of cool bands, having a good time, playing a lot of music.
Can you, what bands are you playing in right now?
I play with a metal band called Anywhere But Here, also with a fusion project called Alien Grace.
A fusion project, what is that?
Well, we like a bunch of different types of music, including a lot of traditional music, mostly Balkan, but we all come from totally different places of the world. I'm from Malta, we've got people from Bolivia, Lithuania, Bulgaria. So we fused rock and roll with various types of traditional music from these parts.
That's awesome. Let's talk a bit about your metal band and then continue.
Sure.
Do you guys have any gigs coming up?
Yes, we do. 20th of December, this month.
Where?
Come. Maze.
Maze. M-A-Z-E?
Yeah, not the...
not the spiked up Maze. No, just so guys, check them out. Go follow them on their social media. Also, you told me beforehand you guys are looking for a new singer.
Indeed, the 20th will be our singer's last show with us, sadly.
Oh shit, more reasons to come, you know, like you will see the difference between before and after.
Yeah, apparently he says he's got some big surprises for us. I have no idea
The
what.
singer?
Yeah, he told us all to do a few things. I don't want to ruin anything for him in case it's relevant, but he said he's got some surprise for the band and the
He's gonna
audience.
bring his kittens to the stage.
Maybe. Yeah, he's got some cute cats.
I know, right? Like he also does. He's a YouTuber, right? If I remember correctly.
Twitch streamer. Yeah.
Okay, almost the same.
Similar.
So yeah, is there anything you want to talk about Alien Grace before we move on? Do you guys have any gigs coming up or songs you're gonna release?
Just tune in.
Tune in.
Things are coming.
Things are coming. I've heard your drummer speak a bit of like a solo single being recorded soonish.
Maybe he shouldn't have, but I will neither confirm nor deny this information.
Oh yeah. Well, let's move on to the main body of this whole interview. What were we gonna talk about again?
I think it was freedom of speech or something.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Can you say that?
I don't know, can I? I hope so. Should be able.
You would be surprised though. Like there are so many countries where it's not allowed.
Yeah, it's actually super relevant right now.
Did you know, like for example, Australia? There's no free speech there.
You think so?
I know so.
I'm surprised by that.
I know. It's probably not like it's probably not as bad as we think. I'm not really sure what it was again. Like there were certain subjects you could not just discuss. You would get in very big trouble.
Really?
Yeah. But
I mean, I don't know anything about this, but if that were the case, it's a slippery slope.
I mean, I think in general, just freedom of speech is very slippery, because, like, let's take into a Milo into consideration or a Ben Shapiro, and they're talking about, I don't know, like one talks about he's again, like for example, Ben Shapiro is, I wouldn't say like against homosexuals, but he just disproves of the idea. He promotes the traditional marriage idea, and he basically hides behind the freedom of speech, but that does not mean hiding behind consequences. Like there's still consequences attached. You know, you could basically say, you know, I disagree with being gay, but you can still have a lot of backlash from people around that.
I personally think that is a problem. I think freedom of speech truly means freedom of speech, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on. Which means that, like, if you look at everything that's going on at the moment, right? There's populism on the rise. You've got things like Brexit going on. A lot of intolerance.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believe that people like us, I don't know your political leanings, I'm generally a little bit more on the left. I think it's our fault, because when people speak their minds and we disagree with them, we just shut them down and call them racists, bigots, and that is, that's wrong, because we're not changing that person's mind. That person still has a vote, and then they're just going to go and use that vote definitely against what you believe. So it's your duty to try and convince people of your point of view without, completely destroying theirs.
Yeah, and I
You know what I mean?
understand.
With Ben Shapiro, I feel like there are a lot of things he says that I vehemently disagree with.
Uh-huh.
There are a few things he says that where he makes a good point. He's great at debating, I think.
I love that. That's one of the things I like about. Most points I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't agree, and I don't want to get mixed up in American politics. But what I like about him is how he brings his point across, almost you just start doubting yourself. Well, maybe he might be right, even though wait a second, what you just said is just straight up fucking awful.
I mean, yeah, a lot of the shit he says is very far out there, and I think he might. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in his head. He might be using some kind of shock tactics to gain, just to be controversial. I wouldn't say to gain popularity, but to drive a point home. I disagree with a lot of the things he says, but then again, he should still be allowed to say those things.
Of course.
And I will still listen to those things, trying to learn something, and that's how I feel about anyone.
How do you feel about hate speech then?
I mean, obviously hate speech, I condemn it. It's wrong. I mean, you shouldn't use slurs, you shouldn't do these things, but that's the thing, shouldn't. The key word is shouldn't. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a dickhead, then go for it. You're gonna be tried in the court of public opinion, which is
that's actually not true. For example, here in Germany, you can be taken to court for that. Hate speech is illegal. And even as a German citizen, if you do hate speech outside of your country, they can still trial you for it. If you do it online, you can be trialed for it.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm not really sure with how many countries, but basically all the Western European countries, they are against hate speech and you can get sued for that. And I mean, this is why I think it's sketchy, because where do you draw the line between hate speech and freedom of speech?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, because I definitely don't think that people should say these things, but I think if institutions and corporations get involved with, because you mentioned Facebook, then they are starting, they're opening a big can of worms, because now they have to decide what's okay, and that's going to be very difficult for them. Say Facebook, if it takes a stance on a certain person and condemns them or bans them for saying certain things, then now it's going to have to do that for everyone, and that is going to be very difficult for them. I think also with nations, I mean, I don't think it's a question of where the line is in terms of actually I think it is that, because if you're gonna bring the law into it, then the law needs to be extremely clearly defined. And I think finding that definition is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I agree with also with the whole Facebook situation, with the trial of Mark Zuckerberg. For me it felt weird. If I would be in his position, I would be crapping my pants. Having this entire row of congressmen just in front of you, and you're just there on your own, trying to defend an entire company. You can't control the whole thing.
Trying to defend mass surveillance.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, and this is what I feel about hate speech and freedom of speech right now. So I feel we should all live in a free society, because that's also what the Happiness Incorporated stands for. Of course. I mean, that's what the name says. We're all about the happiness.
Indeed.
And to be free is to do whatever you want, even have the freedom to hate. But I think a well-balanced person would have no reason to hate. A happy person, let's put it that way, a happy person that's satisfied with themselves, they have no reason to discriminate, they wouldn't even see the point in that. Why should they?
The thing is, look, I agree with you on many counts, but there are a lot of things that need to be taken into account, which is the fact that people are indeed oppressed. There are people who are oppressed for their race, for their gender.
Yes.
These people do need protection from the establishment.
Absolutely. As a country, we're just, as a human race, we're just not there yet to get to that level of freedom, so to say. Right now, we need protection against hate speech. We do need to have governments telling us where the line is. But for me, a utopian kind of view would be that we can all also have the freedom to hate. But to be at that point, a human being doesn't need to hate. The only reason why they need to hate is to learn as well what is good behavior and what is bad behavior, and that doesn't need to be put down by a government, but more of an anarchistic kind of view. You know, like society sets those rules for themselves, and they don't need to have the rules written down for them.
Yeah. So what you're saying basically is that you think it shouldn't be a matter of state, but more a matter of just peer to peer, like.
Yes, but not yet, because I think as a human race we're nowhere near that. There's too much racism, too much sexism, too much homophobia, xenophobia, etc., etc. We're not there yet, but
it's true.
Maybe in 100 or 200 or maybe in 1,000 years, maybe we will get to that point. Who knows?
I think this is, to be honest, in regards to the greater issue of freedom of speech, I think this is anecdotal. I don't think it's the main issue. I think the main issue is where it's actively squashed. Like, for example, we've got many like communist places like China at the moment where you've got revolutions going on, where freedom of speech is utterly hampered. It's destroyed. That's the main problem to me. Where I mean, I don't see what. I mean, maybe the Happiness Incorporated can do something about that, because I don't know what the fuck to do.
Well, I'm very glad what's happening in Hong Kong, that those people are making a stand for it. And
it's heavy though, man. It's not as simple as that. There's a lot of crazy shit going. Have you seen the fucking videos,
dude,
man? Like,
I've seen it. It's insane. I want them to succeed so badly, because the thing is, why China is probably so against it is because if they manage to get their own independence and their own ruling, who knows? Maybe Tibet will be next, or
Taiwan.
Yeah, they're
Taiwan is actually. I think I saw shit was popping off there as well.
As soon as they will succeed, it will just create an uprising, and China will be massively in trouble, because
they will have a choice. They'll be standing at a crossroads. They will either have to completely crush the insurrection.
Yeah.
And then we might see the greatest atrocity of the postmodern world, or give in and the regime will fall. But
they have such a problem, because, like, for example, let's say if Tibet falls down, why that's such a problem of China? They have like another great political situation with India, and India is also a nuclear power. As soon as they have Tibet, they have the upper hand over there, but as soon as Tibet is gone, they don't have that Himalaya advantage.
The problem lies even deeper than that, because once it has been proven that the Chinese regime can be undermined, then everyone under its heel will do it.
It will be just another
collapse. It'll be a domino effect.
It'll be like a Berlin Wall thing happening all over again.
And like this, like we say, like we should root for this, because it's people getting out under the heel of tyranny and speaking out and revolution. But then again, like, even if it goes all the way to Beijing, that's gonna leave a massive economic vacuum, a power vacuum. We might see China descend into complete chaos if it loses, like we've seen it before, like with Iraq when Saddam Hussein was removed. If you've got a strong power keeping the rule of law, and that's removed, then people kind of go a bit crazy. Man, shit's going down in Malta as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had a journalist assassinated a few years ago, and that's coming to a head now. And like, we don't even know if the real culprit is going to be properly prosecuted. The Prime Minister, who should fucking step down, is because like the entire European Commission is talking shit about us, and when two of your ministers have been caught doing what they've been caught doing,
like fucking setting a bomb off in a car of a reporter.
They haven't been straight up convicted of that yet, but there is proof in the Panama Papers scandal that they are connected to certain financial crimes, and they both resigned. In fact, like when your two right-hand men essentially are caught with foul play, you step down, because you are no longer trusted by the people. And if you genuinely hold your people's best interests at heart, then you will do that. It's as simple as that.
Okay, I have to ask for a closing statement.
Sure.
Is there anything you would like to say to the people? If you want to warn them about something, or just straight up promote your own stuff, or give them advice, you can say whatever you want.
Come watch my band anywhere but here on the 20th of December. Tune into Alien Grace's social media, also anywhere but here's. And don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, but also listen to people when they speak.
That's some very wise words.
Thank you.
Right. I'm going to close the podcast. Tune in next week for another amazing subject. Bye.
Thanks, Brooks.
That was cool, man.
Cheers.
That was really cool.